What is going on, everyone? It's your guy, Cole Jackson, back here on Road Graders, coming to you today on the Russell Street Report, courtesy of Jimmy's Famous Seafood. Big shout out to Jimmy's. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. Today, we're going to be promoting the delicious Jimmy's Famous Chips. They come in 3 flavors. You got Boardwalk, Crab Dip, and Luke's Blend. You cannot get better than this. Go over to Jimmy's, get some, get to a retailer nearby, get into some of Jimmy's Famous Chips. Thank you to Jimmy's for sponsoring this draft series. This is going to be one of those ones that I did very similar to what I did last year. We're going to basically spend the next 3.5 weeks, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There will be a film breakdown on each draft prospect. So we are starting with pick 27, MALAKI STARKS. The wait's over. We know the draft class, and I can't wait to break these guys down. So let's jump in to talking about MALAKI STARKS. We'll do a film breakdown. I got about a 20-minute video. I'm going old school on this one too. We're going back to the full screen brush drawing on the video. What I want you to do is you guys give me some feedback down below. Let me know if you guys like this approach, and obviously hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Again, we'll be breaking down every single draft pick. All the film's going to be ready to go over the next 3.5 weeks. So let's take a look here, starting with MALAKI STARKS as an athlete. Obviously came in with a 5.2 RAS. I think this is one of the interesting parts of this pick. The Ravens have historically, under Eric DeCosta in the first round, focused on very high RAS score guys. In fact, most of their drafts have been high RAS guys. And MALAKI STARKS came in. He didn't run a good agility test, not a good shuttle, not a good 3-cone, didn't have a good vertical, had a good 40 at the end, but you can see the 10-yard split and 20-yard split didn't perform relative to his peers as well as the 40. Came in with a lower weight, so came in a little undersized too. And it's just one of those interesting things, right? It's you look at that, you're a little concerned, and then you watch the tape and you're like, how did he not score well athletically? There's not really a point where I find there's issues with his athleticism. So that's just one of those things where he's such a good processor. He's so good understanding where he needs to be, leveraging his coverages, and playing off of the quarterback's eyes. I talk about it a lot in the film breakdown. That's probably the biggest strength to me, the way he plays with the quarterback's eyes and the way he puts himself into position. It's funny because he's not getting a ton of ball production, but that's because he's rarely getting thrown at. A lot of situations where he'll be the first read, or the first read will be, a route underneath him and the quarterback looks away because of how he positions himself. So I highlight that quite a bit. So again, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and let's dive into it. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this format. Let's get into the film. By focusing on some snaps that really take a look at the coverage IQ of Starks, and we're going to really focus on how he does against route combinations and against individual routes, where he does such a good job. When I say leveraging his position, I'm focusing on, as a route is breaking, he's positioning his body to either take away the read from the quarterback by disrupting his eyes, or by positioning himself to be able to make a play on the ball. And that's what's been so interesting about watching his film, because he doesn't get targeted a lot, and I think you see so often, because of his positioning and his IQ, he takes that read away from the quarterback, which is exactly what you want. That's how you make your quarterback go through numerous reads so that they look elsewhere. So you're going to see him step up here against the play action pass, right? So he's going to step up. It looks like cover 3, so you're going to get drops here. It's cover 3 with some sort of man option, because you're going to see number 6 is the only one playing man here at the bottom. So I don't know if they have that. This is the isolated receiver. They have the tight end on this side. So I don't know if this is something Georgia does where they'll man up on this side, but you're going to see the far side corner. He's going to drop back. You're going to get a zone drop here. And then this would be the other cover 3, because you see Starks drop into a robber roll, and he's going to come up, and he jumps up so far because he's filling that gap against the run fake. So as he does that, he's going to step up, and you're going to get a crossing route here. So the crossing route from the receiver, and then you have the 2 linebackers here in zone coverage. And so what you're going to see from Starks right here is he's able to jump back. And so when I say disrupt the eyes of the quarterback, if you focus on where the quarterback's looking after the play action pass, he's going to go PA here, and then it looks like his first read is right here. And so what Starks does See right there? Looks like his eyes are there. I could be wrong. Obviously, he could be looking this way, but it's definitely one or the other. And that's what Starks is seeing, and that's why he starts to break back. And so what he does is he's positioned himself. He's created that leverage point where if the ball does get thrown, he's breaking on underneath that crossing route, right? So it's either going to have to be a perfectly placed ball or he's going to have a chance to make the play on it. But because he sees Stark start to break on it, you're going to see go into the scramble, which is, a win in coverage. So this type of stuff, disrupting those routes and that route recognition. So he steps up against the play action, peeks right back over his shoulder, and he sees that crossing route coming, and then he starts to, eat into that space. So just very, very efficient mover, doing that very often. This is a play from 2023. He's actually going to be matched up in the slot against Leggett, who got drafted last year by the Panthers, I believe. So we can't see the third down marker, can we? If I zoom in. Okay, so right there you can see, if you look at the yardage marker at the top, so it's about 3rd and 8 here. And what I love that he does here is he plays the sticks, right? It's 3rd and 8, it's in their zone. Even if they get it close to the 40, they're probably punting. And so you can see Starks, he knows the 40-yard line is where he's going to go. So he's going to hold the sticks and he's going to step back there. And that's why there's separation here, right? He doesn't want to get beat deep and he doesn't want to get beat over top of the sticks. So he's going to position himself and let this be caught. If he catches this a couple yards short, which he does, that's 4th down. And you can see right there, the other defender for Georgia putting up the 4th down marker. So this is sort of the little nuances I see in his game where it just shows his IQ level, right? This counts as yardage allowed, which is obviously not ideal at all times, but he forces a 4th down by, forcing that ball to go below the and by cheating the sticks as well, he's obviously able to protect against his back in case it is a longer breaking route, and he's giving himself that cushion. So just little things like that. You're going to see a route combination here at the top of the screen. You can see the arrow pointing at him. You see Notre Dame's going to motion over. They're going to have a 2-man route combination here. And this is the good stuff that he does so well. So you're going to see right here, again, he's going to allow a little bit of cushion because this is going to be that 2-man. It turns into a 3-man route combination. So he's going to break outwards, but Starks knows he's got the cover 2 drop there. See, as he breaks, so Starks is going to actually cheat up and cheat backwards because he knows that if this route is undercut, he's got his guy there. So it's just little nuances like this that I find he does so well. Playing these route combinations, you see how well Georgia covers that up on the far side of the field. Just little things like that. You're going to see it again here. Motion from Texas. So again, they're going to stack 2 over here. Starks is the safety on that side, up in a split safety alignment. He's going to drop down. And you can see again where the quarterback is looking is to exploit the breaking route here. So they want to stack up. One's going to go deep, one's going to break in, and they're trying to catch zone coverage. So you're going to see, looks like cover 3 again. There's your 3 deep covers. You got him dropping into that under robber roll in cover 3, and then he's going to feel this out. He's going to feel that breaking route, right? So he's going to fill that gap right there. As that breaking route comes on this side for another check down, he's going to take that away, and then he's going to go up and make a play on the ball once it's thrown to the check down. So just little thing after little thing, right? These little coverages that just stack up. Against Alabama here, see him make a break on the ball. Good route recognition from the safety alignment. I tried to throw in some of these split safety looks. He's going to break on the ball and disrupt that pass, even if that ball's obviously thrown high by Milrow, but if it comes in, you can see him breaking on it. And again, he's able to cheat up a little bit because the corner here is far enough back that he wants to play that over the top, right? So that's why there's so much air on that ball. Starks breaks on it. Just little things, good positioning. He's always in position to make a play on the ball. Another split safety snap here, and you can see the break right there. Again, keeping and like fluid movement, right? So he's going to break into his back pedal. 5's going to go up and hit that little flag route, that little outbender, and as he does, Starks is able to jump up. So just little nuances in his game, but he's just always positioned so well. Now that this is going to be a long developing one, Ewers goes into a little bit of a scramble drill. So you see right here, he's going to be in a looks like cover 1. They're in man. So he's a cover 1 deep safety here. And so what he does is he just continues to take away options, right? So as he starts out here by looking for what I think he was expecting to be a deep route there in the slot. And so he's positioned himself here that if that ball is going to come out, he can break on that ball. Now, as Ewers goes into the scramble drill, you can see right here, he's escaping out of the back of the pocket to continue. He's going to work over to that side of the field, and you see the player here working up the field. Starks is going to come over and try and take that away. And in doing so, the ball gets thrown here, and he's going to break on that as well. So just continuously putting himself in good position. He's always feeling out. What I think is so important is how well he reads the quarterback's eyes, because that's how he's reacting. When he's positioning himself, he's reading the quarterback's eyes. And I haven't seen many plays where it's made him susceptible to, being looked off. He seems to be the one dictating what the quarterback's doing by taking away reads and forcing the ball to go elsewhere, which is exactly what you want to see from a safety. This is just great recognition. Alabama's going to use that double reverse, set this up, and you see Starks right there, break on it. Big tackle for a loss. That's a loss of about 7 yards. So just, beautiful work there. Starks the arrow didn't show at the start. He's right here going to play action, and he's going to take away that deep route. So I want to show that. That's Leggett again, coming from the wide side of the field. So you can see him. I want to show his ability to kind of break into those deep routes. So right there, he's going to be that deep safety, look like cover 2. Maybe not quite cover 2. Maybe cover 4. Cover 4 where he has that deep check. But you see right there, he's able to turn and run with Leggett. No issues. Here's going to be another deep target where he's actually going to have a nice little disruption in the route. And that ball ends up overthrown. So he's going to use his contact there. Almost gets caught flat-footed. You can see right there the Florida player is going to use that nice little jab step to try and get deep. But I like how well Starks plays with contact there. Not enough for a flag. No issues there. Didn't see a lot of flag issues with his game, actually. Another one where he's going to break on this. This is just one of those plays where, so Starks is going to be cover 1 again. This is man coverage underneath. So he's going to break into that deep roll, come over. And if this ball is thrown anywhere but behind the receiver, corner had no idea where the ball is. This is caught because the corner completely loses the ball in the air. If that's thrown anywhere but behind, Starks is picking that ball off. And so you can just see how fast he can break on that ball. It's just positioned exactly where he can't get it. I think we get one more here, and this is actually a catch, but you can see how closely contested this is. This is one thing, if I were to show you a weakness in his game, and we just kind of saw it in that Florida game where he's flipping his hips. So you're going to see the slot corner here is going to work him outside. So you see right there, he's opened to the outside of the field, and then he's got to turn back inwards. And that's where a little bit of separation comes. And he just undercuts the ball a little too much. Ball gets babbled, and he catches it. This is the other angle, just so you can see how close it was. See right there. Literally a fingertip. So something to keep an eye on. I think the way he's running, when he has to flip his hips, I think it's definitely worth watching out for. He obviously didn't test well, but I found he played with such good positioning that, you don't really know. I've never watched his tape and been like, he's not athletic. But you will see times where you can see a little stiffness in his hips, and that's something that's going to be, they're going to have to keep an eye on that and see how that develops. I think that also would have showed up in his shuttle time, in his 3-cone time, which he didn't test well on. And so that's really what those are looking for, right? How fast can you change direction and flip your hips? So just something to keep an eye on. Take a look at some of the man coverage reps. As I talked about in the opening, he played a lot more in the star role. Where he had to take man coverage snaps. And this is where you're going to see a ton of these. So a lot of these are going to be from 2024. So we're going to break into it here. So he's aligned across from number 5. And you're going to see him just pick up some of these crossers. I threw in a couple crossers earlier just to show how he can recognize, run with some of these receivers, because these aren't, safeties playing man coverage on a tight end or on a running back. He's playing more of a slot corner, or what Georgia calls a star role, where he's out there. You can see Texas comes out with a 3 wide receiver bunch, tight ends on the other side of the field, and you can see him run with wide receivers. And what I love is that when he's doing this, he's able to stay in phase so well. So when he's chasing right here, he's able to stay on that hip, right? So right here, he's going to stay behind the ball. He undercuts a lot, which I think is something to keep an eye on, but he's undercutting. He does a pretty good job of getting his head back around when the wide receiver goes to show his hands, and stays in phase so that he can run and push through the catch point if he needs to. Here you're going to see out in the spread, they got a 5-man spread, 5-man protection here for Notre Dame. And this is they're going to try and run a little corner route against Starks. And you see how well he stuck on that. And most important thing that I saw, so when the contact point comes right at the 20-yard line right here, so he puts his hands on, but look where his face mask is. Eyes are on the quarterback. So you're going to see right here, he's going to contact, look back to see where the ball is. He sees the ball getting thrown. As the ball comes up, what does he do? He's running with them. There's that white face mask, if you look in close enough, looking for the ball. And so this was something that really popped to me watching these man coverage snaps, is how well he plays with his head back to the ball. And you can see it right here, right there. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. The ball is obviously overthrown, but on a fade like that, he wants to be able to make a play on the ball. He's got that true playmaker mindset, and that's exactly why he's getting that head back around. So for all those folks that were haunted by the memories of Brandon Stevens not getting his head around, I don't know how much we'll see of Starks in man coverage, but I'm very impressed with his ability to do it and how much he has that awareness and IQ. You can see right there, once again, he's going to get that out-breaking route from the slot. And right here, as he starts to catch up, you see that head come back around, and he's able to contest the ball. But let me pause it. There's that head turning, and he's going to look right back at the quarterback, ball's in the air. And what that allows him to do is you can see him thrust forward right there. He pushes up through because the wide receiver, he's got enough coverage where the wide receiver is going to have to lay out a little bit like that. So he's going to try and push his arm up through that catch point, staying in phase. Here you're going to get a little bit more. See him have to run here. And then as he flips his hips. So this is a good look at the fluidity that I'm talking about. So we're going to see him take that out-breaking route. Gets a little bit of separation there as he turns it back upfield, but not really an issue running with these wide receivers. And this is, again, a role that I'm not expecting him to have to do a ton. You don't see it from a ton of safeties. Right there, this was a beautiful play. So this is from 2023. So as that route comes right there, this is what I mean. Hip on hip, staying in phase. He's got his helmet on the inside leverage track so that he can work his hand up through. And as that ball comes, that's exactly what he does. And you see that ball hit that ground. Man coverage ability, I was super impressed with. Game against Clemson here. This is going to be a beautiful pick. One of the nicest plays I've seen. This is week 1. So, again, it's going to be that 2-man route combination. They're just trying to run a little bit of a slot fade up the sideline. And, again, this is made because, look, see that white face mask? Heads back to the ball. And he's able to get up and make a play on that ball. Now, I did throw this in. This is a 5-man protection against Alabama, and he's just going to get cooked right there. I'm showing you guys the full story because this clip will probably make its way on Twitter, and you need to be able to see all of it. I didn't think that this was a common thing, but it definitely happened in this game. I think this was a 2-point conversion. It does say first. I can't remember. I should have marked it down. But either way, definitely a play given up there. Now, when we get into his run support, there's some nuance that I want to point out because you'll see when he's playing against Alabama here, a lot of these bad reps that we're about to see, there's about 4 of them, I think, are coming when he's in that star alignment, which is basically a slot corner. And I had some issues with his run support from that positioning, but I didn't have issues with his run support from the safety alignment. And I think a lot of that is just because when you're the 3rd level defender coming down to fill gaps, you don't have as much, or you have a lot more distance to close to get to the blocking scheme, right? So that's where I think the nuance is. He had a really high coverage, or a really high run defense grade, but you will see plays like this. So they're going to run, this is just kind of a sweep. And you can see right here, Starks is 24 over top of the tight end, over top of 81. You see the receiver come in, number 1. And he's just going to block him into oblivion, right? Like he just completely seals him, takes him out of the play. And this is exactly as Starks filling from, and again, he's in tight, right? He's basically lined up as a linebacker. You will see safeties this close in the red zone, But he's just not able to deconstruct that block from the wide receiver and get off of it. And that's where we need him to be able to fill that gap. You're going to see it here too. So as this play, it's going to be just a handoff, a little sweep out to the left. See right there, he's going to get contacted by another receiver, and he's going to get driven about 10 yards. And I think it's the same receiver. I think this receiver had him in hell. And then you see Starks jumping up here. Didn't like this play. Just showing missed tackle. This is Jalen Milroe, I know, but these are the tackles you got to make at the NFL level. Milroe takes that off. I saw a couple of examples of tackling issues that I wanted to throw out there. You're going to see him again struggle to get off there against that block. So it's not quite run D, but it's just kind of that quick screen out. Starks is right here. Yeah, Starks is right there. And you see there might be a tight end, to be fair, but you see him gain that leverage, start pushing him out, and Starks isn't really able to quite get off of that. So just happened pretty consistently. Now we're going to see him back in more of a traditional safety alignment. You see him step up there and another missed tackle. Now, again, one of those things, if you look at the analytics, you look at the PFF numbers, he didn't have a high percentage of missed tackles. So this isn't, I'm not trying to say he's a bad tackler, but I'm just showing you what some of the limitations are. See him right there. He's going to get juked. So definitely some examples. I think Alabama game was his worst PFF grade game. You're going to see him step up here again from the safety alignment, miss another. So just some missed tackles that kind of stood out to me. Now we get into some of the stuff I didn't have much of an issue with. So you're going to see he's aligned pretty much further back there. You see number 3 in there as a linebacker. So he's as a safety, and he's able to break on this ball a lot quicker, right? With more time and space. Good pursuit angle. You're going to see here, nice pursuit on Milroe, and he makes the tackle. So it's not all bad. I know I started with some bad ones that might be rubbing you the wrong way right now, but it's definitely not all bad. You're going to see 59 get out on him here. See how he deconstructs that block, comes off of it, tackles made before he needs to. But you can see right there, good compete level. That's one thing I really like about his game. He's very physical, and you're going to see lots of plays right now that we're kind of getting into the positives. So he's up to the left of your screen right now, top left corner. He's going to come down, and he's going to run this alley really aggressively. And you see how he holds that position? Very intelligent play here. Tackle should have been made by 97. He doesn't. He keeps it going. Starks fills that gap, right? So I love the physicality. As he gets in there, he's got no issue putting his nose into the dirt. You're going to see him step up right here and take on that blocker. Love this because this is forcing that ball back inside, right? Because Starks is going to be the one to step up and set that edge, and that's what forces that cut right there. He's going to cut that back in. He wants to take that edge on that toss play. Starks steps up into a puller. It's that pulling right tackle and forces that ball to go back in. So love the physicality. I've never had an issue with his physicality. You see him run the alley right here, make a big tackle. He comes up right there on the right-hand side, comes inside, makes a tackle. So it's far from all bad, just to be very, very clear. But I definitely had a couple concerns. Again, a lot of these are kind of coming where he's, the third level defender in here. It's just pretty consistent. So that's what I had for his film. Let's go wrap it up. All right, folks. So there it is. That's that film breakdown. Again, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of that approach of doing it without me on the screen. And that way I can do the screen brush. It's the only way I can draw on the screen. So drop a comment down below. Let me know. And again, thank you to Jimmy's for sponsoring this video. Again, go check out Jimmy's Famous Chips. 3 flavors, Boardwalk, Crab Dip, Luke's Blend. You can't beat Jimmy's. And then I forgot to show this at the start of the video, but I always throw these up. But just to kind of show some of his alignment down at the bottom, you can see he had 271 snaps in the slot and 400 deep. So you really see the versatility, right? Where he's playing not just that deep center safety role, but he's also dropping down into the slot where he's having some of those. You saw man coverage snaps, but also some of the run snaps. When you look at some of the numbers, this is what I'm talking about. Like he ranks pretty high in a lot of these metrics. So like missed tackle percentage was 8.1%, which is one of the best in the class. He's pretty high up there in tackles. So I showed some concerns that I had, but a lot of that was alignment based. I think he's at his best. I think if you look at the film, when he's in that split safety alignment. And that's what I'm expecting from him. Kind of that Geno Stone role from 2 years ago, where he's going to be that split safety and it allows Kyle Hamilton to be, the roamer. There's definitely going to be snaps where he does drop down and he's versatile enough to do it. He can drop down, play a little bit of slot, man up on tight ends, all that kind of stuff, man up on running backs, which I think could be a real advantage for Zach Orr, given some of the issues we've had against backs. But we saw those man coverage skills and what he could do in that regard. So I really like the versatility he brings, but I do think his best fit is going to be as a split safety. And I think with our Darius Washington, that puts Kyle Hamilton in a spot where he can just be a hunter killer drone, right? Like this is a great pick in the sense that MALAKI STARKS is a good player. This is a great pick in the sense that it allows Kyle Hamilton to go back to doing what he does best. And that's what I am the most excited about with this pick. Not only is this Starks great, but the impact it has on Kyle Hamilton. In 2023, he was a defensive player of the year guy. And I think he can get back to that because of the versatile things he can do now that the back end is shored up with our Darius Washington and MALAKI STARKS. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Big thank you to Jimmy's for sponsoring this video on the Russell Street Report. Do me a favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this pick. Hit me with a grade. And as always, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Peace out, everyone.